you like Dungeons and Dragons? I sure do. It's one of my favorite hobbies ever of all time. God, I love it so much. And do you like watching anime? God, me too. It's one of my favorite things of all time ever. So much. So good. Today we're talking about how to survive getting isekai into Dungeons and Dragons. Pause. I haven't explained what an isekai is. It's a genre of anime where the main character's from Earth and probably got hit by a truck and then sent to a magical fantasy world with like dragons and stuff. Classic examples: that time I got reincarnated as a slime, ReZero, Ascendance of the Bookworm. Basically, anytime you want to put adjective plus job title and other world together in the same sentence, that's an isekai, baby. So we're doing it in Dungeons and Dragons. All right, unpause. How are we doing this? Well, let me explain the rules. Number one, we are operating according to 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons. Sorry if you're like 80 years old and you played AD&D back in the day. We're playing 5th edition. And we're going to mainly use the 2014 legacy rules because that's what I grew up on and that's what I know best. Also, we'll talk about 2024 and how we would survive in an isekai at the end of the video. Stick around for that. Video retention. Nice. The second rule, we remain human. And we are level 1 when we start being brought into this realm from Earth. Rule number 3, we will be dropped into Faerun, somewhere along the Sword Coast. Let's just say Baldur's Gate. Down, down, down by the river. Also, we remember everything from Earth. That's kind of like, par for the course of an isekai. We got to remember everything so we have an advantage. For optimal survival, we should be able to defend ourselves, but also be able to have a bunch of tricks up our sleeve and survive a multitude of scenarios that might come up in a regular D&D adventure. Not that we technically have to go on any adventures, it's just we might have to get active and stop the overall end of the world type beat sometimes. My class is obviously going to be warlock. I imagine that I'm drawing power from whatever entity brought me into the world of Faerun, and since living in a fantasy world is a wish come true, obviously my subclass is going to be Genie warlock, baby. Get it? Because it's like wish came true. I'm a genie in a bottle, baby. Baby. The best subclass of Genie warlock is the Dow. I don't know if I'm saying it right. The Dow Jones. Now, I'm definitely saying Dow Jones correctly, but I don't know if Dow is the way you say the name of the rock genies. Access to Sanctuary as a spell is very clutch early game. Also, meld into stone and stone shape, really good. You can hide in a wall. That'll be good because we're just human and we gotta, there's dragons and stuff out there. It's scary. But those spells aside, the main draw that made me want to take Genie as my warlock subclass is the chef's kiss of survival abilities. It's bottled respite. Respite? I don't know. You go inside this portable little nice room. You have a little like waiting room in a bottle. It's really nice. As an action, you can go inside there and stay for 2 times your proficiency bonus number of hours. So at level 1, our proficiency bonus is 2, so we can stay in there for 4 hours. But it's really nice. Having a place we can hide for 4 hours a day is really good. That's a short rest. That's like, a good nap, and you're safe mostly. It's really good. It only gets better because our proficiency bonus will eventually go up. So then we get 6 hours. 8 hours is a long rest, so we can just straight up rest in there infinitely. Really nice, really good. The world is scary, and sometimes the best thing to do is hide inside a little bottle. So level 1, our build is very simple. We are Genie Warlock who hides inside our bottle, and we have Eldritch Blast because range is overpowered, and we don't want to get jumped by goblins or kobolds or whatnot. Our variant human gave us Magic Initiate, which means we went wizard and we took like prestidigitation or whatever. Who cares about the cantrips? We took Find Familiar. So we can get an owl at level 1, which means when we go inside our bottle, we can have our owl carry us around, meaning we get 4 hours a day of air travel, which is good because bandits, they live on the ground for the most part. Also, we can do a fun little trick that I thought of. You run off a cliff first, jump inside the bottle as an action, and then, the bottle falls off the cliff. It hits the ground, shatters, takes all that fall damage. You pop out completely unharmed. That's pretty cool. We can also store food in there because any items we bring in stay there until brought out. So we can just hide stuff in here as well. We can smuggle. It's really good. It's like a bag of holding, but kind of better in a way that we can like live in there for a bit. It's at this point After all that preamble of what level we are, all cool little abilities and stuff, we now finally spawn. We finally get, placed down. That was all, the character creation section where the god or whatever is like, you are being isekai, pick your stats and what level and what you want. So now we're actually spawning. The first thing we're going to do is we're in Faerun. So all we got to do is ignore pleas for help, stay away from werewolves in the mist, mysterious visitors near Daggerford, and ignore creeping fog on a lonely road going through the woods. Now, you might ask, why are we ignoring all these things? A cry for help, mysterious strangers? That sounds sick. Well, those are actually adventure hooks for probably the best adventure ever, in my opinion, Curse of Strahd. Now, if you know anything about Curse of Strahd, you'll realize it's a great adventure when you are not the character having to do it. If we get isekai, I'm staying the hell away from Barovia. I do not want to have to do Curse of Strahd. We are very, very dead. Because if we get sucked into Barovia, for one, you cannot leave. You're stuck in the fog until, Strahd is defeated, and even then, he's not really defeated. And you're level 1, so you have to go through a thing called the Death House. Got me fucked up if I have to go through a thing called the Death House. It could be a whole separate video, and if you want that, comment it. I'll do it. Also, if you find yourself in the jungle, or people around you are talking about this thing called the Death Curse, pack it up as well, say your prayers, because you're in the, beginnings of the Tomb of Annihilation. The actual worst place to be, notorious for killing player characters, and if you're the character, you will die. What we do want to do is make our way down over to Phandelver. Phandelver is well known as basically Dungeons & Dragons, the tutorial. Everyone starts their 5th edition sort of journey with Lost Mines of Phandelver, and that's what we would do as well. We'd hop in, and if we're solo, we can probably do it. We just got to play the range game and snipe people and, retreat back, run them around. But if we have other adventurers with us, NPCs or whatnot, we can probably do it a lot better. Theoretically, all we need to do is survive the Lost Mines of Phandelver until we get to about level 3. And from there, we are very much chilling. Why? At level 3, we unlock Pact of the Chain, which gives us Find Familiar, which we already had, except this Find Familiar is boosted. We get an imp. An imp, one of the most broken familiars ever. Everyone does it. It's the best familiar of all time. It gets invisibility as long as it wants. You can just go at will invisible forever. Really good. You don't have to, it doesn't have like a once per day thing. It's just invisible. It can also fly, and it has hands. So what we can do now is ditch the owl, upgrade him into an imp, which is like a tiny little devil guy. Then we have him grab our bottle. He can go straight up invisible with it, meaning we can now fly around invisibly. And yeah, it's awesome, especially with Voice of the Chain Master. There's an Eldritch Invocation where we can now speak through and see through our familiar as long as we're on the same plane of existence. And this is a bit of a question for the dungeon masters if you're trying this, but I would say it's fair. If you're inside your genie lamp, you can still see through your familiar's eyes, especially because as part of the genie bottle respite action, you can see out of the little jar that you're in. So you're still in the same plane of existence, I would say, which means you can see through your familiar, which means you can hide inside your genie room and pilot your imp around like a little mech or like an avatar, like in the Avatar movies. Anyway, we're going to have him fly around invisibly. We're going to dress him up though, so he's like our little, he's a cute little avatar. We can make him, customize him how cute as we want him. Anyway, we can now use imp mode to basically be in 2 places at once. Really good. This means we can take stuff like messenger jobs or delivery jobs, and a flying invisible carrier means people will pay premium price for that because your message will get sent or your letter will be delivered. Really good. Really nice. I don't want my nice new isekai life to get ruined by Tiamat. That's right, the dragon god who arises from hell itself. Yeah, terrifying. She has this cult that's trying to resurrect her. So depending on the timeline of where we, get isekai'd into it, it could have already been handled. Someone already handled the cult of the Dragon Queen, and someone already did that whole adventure, and we're good. We don't have to worry about it. But if not, if the Dragon Queen is like, no one's heard about that, or they don't know what the cult is, that means it's our goddamn job to step in. So all you got to remember, if you watch this video and you get isekai'd, you got to go find and kill a guy named Severin. This guy is trying to start the dragon cult back up. He's doing a lot already. He's human though, and he can't see through invisibility. So we can send our imp in, poison the shit out of all his food, and have him die. Alternatively, we can also send our invisible imp into the dragon caldera, the well of dragons, and have our little imp try and steal the Dragon Queen masks and prevent them from being used in the ritual. If we get those and we destroy those, they can't bring back Tiamat. Also, theoretically, we have all this information from, knowing the source material. We can just hire adventurers to go and kill Severin or, do it for us, or, inform the police that this dragon cult is happening. But sometimes, we got to do it ourselves. We also got to avoid this city called Elturel at all costs. Again, depending on the timeline, canonically, Elturel goes to hell. Yeah, it falls into the hells, which is crazy. You don't want to have a house in Elturel. We also have to stop the events of Baldur's Gate 3 at some point. Again, because Elturel falls, all of the, the tieflings get out of there, that go to the Grove. Baldur's Gate 3 happens. So again, depending on the timeline, we got to stop Tiamat, we got to get out of Elturel, and then we got to go do the whole Baldur's Gate thing and stop it. Down, down, down. All of this is arbitrary. If we arrive sometime in the events after Baldur's Gate 3, theoretically, there's either a giant hive mind, big mind guy in the sky being ruled by a ballist, which would suck. So theoretically, you want to stop all that, do the mind flare thing, really just skip to the end, kill everybody with their nether stones and whatnot, and stop them from, bringing back the big mind guy. Or we could always just call in people that we had deal with the dragon cult and make them do it. But again, sometimes we got to do it ourselves. So send in the familiars, go break people out of the underwater submarine prison zone, whatever. God, I love Baldur's Gate 3. Down. Speaking of Baldur's Gate, it's a pretty good place to hang out and live. As long as we're okay surviving ballists, vampires, there's the Hell Store where that people, they go to hell canonically. There's the Mummy Lord who's chilling in a basement. There's also a hag chilling in another basement. Baldur's Gate has a lot of shady shit going on. But now, at this point, we've leveled up. We have access to create food and water, and we can hang out in our little bottle for at least 4 hours. So in the meantime, our imp can fly us around invisibly, saving money on transport costs. And the world is legitimately our oyster. We have, food, water, shelter. We got good at magic. We've got an invisible scout that we can send around, fly around with us. And we can basically hang out, and our true body is never really in danger at all. If our familiar dies, then we can resummon him. It's really good. We will do our best, though, to avoid combats. Our imp, though, he can kind of pop off a little bit in the lower levels, at least. Thanks to investment of the Chainmaster, he'll get a DC boost on his Poison Sting, and he can technically do it twice a turn. So we give up our attack action, boom, and then we use our bonus action to tell him to combat. So he uses up his reaction and his attack, does a bunch of stuff. It's decent damage, 2d4 plus 6 plus 6d6 poison damage. Not bad. Imps are also immune to fire. So somewhere along the line, let's buy this dude a wand of fireballs, and he can just spam it at his fucking feet like a beast. Let him go crazy with it. It's not the most optimal build in terms of damage or healing or whatnot, but it's really good as an isekai protagonist power, right? Our goal here is just to survive in the world of Dungeons and Dragons, not become the most overpowered. I also, off the top of my head, don't know where all the crazy magic items are hidden. All I know is how to stop apocalypses. So, somewhere along the line of stopping the apocalypses, we'll get cool stuff, or we can go and buy cool stuff with all our, letter money from delivering letters and stuff. I eventually realized we kind of became like the courier from Fallout. Again, Baller, he has a good time. He's the main character, right? He's cool. You don't want to be too overpowered, because if you're too overpowered, you get one shot by your party all the time. That happens in literally every fantasy thing. Is if you're so strong, the king wants you dead. But we can slowly work our way up the levels, at which point we can theoretically reach the realm of level 17, at which point we become immortal thanks to getting Wish as a Genie spell. Yeah, that's goddamn right. If we survive long enough, we get access to Wish, one of the strongest spells in the game. Actually, the strongest spell in the game, which we can then use to wish for the spell Clone of ourselves, specifying that it's a younger body and whatnot. And then when we die, our soul will go into the younger body, and then we just cheated death, basically. And we could do that infinitely as long as our soul isn't destroyed by something. We're basically immortal. We're now immortal, and we have a cool little imp, and we can, we have, power and wealth and everything. So yeah, that's the general plan. If we are following the 2014 5e rules and modules, let's now speed run real quick survival using 2024 rules. Again, I'm not super familiar with them, so this is just a very regular worst case scenario. Let's imagine that whatever entity drops us in the middle of the desert at level 1. Sucks. We have just what we have on our body from like the starting material and stuff, which is not a lot, but all we got to do is take variant human with the origin feat magic initiate. This time instead of wizard, we're going druid. So we can get access to good berry, the best spell ever in the game ever. You get to eat berries and your tummy's full and you gain hit points too. It's pretty good. Then we can use the elementalism cantrip that we got from, you guessed it, magic initiate, where we can then beckon water into our hands and make a little cup of water and we can slurp that up. So now we got food and we got water. Sick. We won't die of dehydration or starvation while we're in the middle of the desert. Instead of warlock, because we don't get to do the find familiar thing and there's no genie warlock yet in 2024, pick it up, guys. Hurry up. We're going to go artificer because I like artificer a lot. I like the new magical tinkering thing, which lets us make a bunch of useful survival tools like bedrolls, blankets, baskets, candles, bunch of other stuff. And depending on our intelligence score, we get to make anywhere between 3 or 4 of these combined with our infinite good berries and infinite water. We cover the main, survival needs of food, water, shelter. Very much a Bear Grylls situation. I would much rather have my cool genie room and magic imp pseudo avatar exploring the world, but 2024 is behind in the times, ironically enough. They haven't made something cool like the Genie Warlock Magic Room. So yeah, I probably missed some world-ending threats here and there, probably in the 2014 or 2024 versions. I don't know. I'm never going into the Underdark ever, so if there's something bad down there, you got me fucked up. I guess we're just gonna have to deal with it. 2024, also haven't played a ton of it yet, so if there's a world-ending threat in a adventure book that just came out, shit, we're fucked. Leave it in the comments, though, so that everybody else who eventually gets isekai into Dungeons & Dragons does know how to survive better and gooder and cooler. Also, if you like this video, consider subscribing. It helps an absolute ton. Also, this video is brought to you thanks to all my patrons on Patreon, baby. That's right. Look at them go. Got a big list of them. They're very nice. It's cool. Also, if you like Magic the Gathering, that's like my main channel. This is sort of my White Boy Yaps channel. So you can always go follow me there. If you're not already from there to here, you can go from here to there. Anyway, yeah, this is a video conversation. It's way better than video essays and way more fun. All right, I'll see you in the next one. Peace out. Bye, everybody.